I am calling it out. Debt sucks. Whether it's student loans, credit cards, car notes, mortgages, personal loans, if you're not careful, it can all add up quickly. This idea around good debt versus bad debt, to me, it really doesn't make a difference if you're struggling to pay it. It sucks, and nothing about that feels good. It all feels bad. Hey there, Renee Collins here, CPA financial planner and the founder of Retire Ready, a firm that is dedicated to helping business owners and families to save more, invest smart, and to build wealth. Now, if this is your first time at this channel, please, if you find this information useful, please don't forget that like button and don't forget to subscribe. So this video is going to be a two-part series. When I started creating the video, I realized I just had so much to say about debt from an emotional standpoint as well as from a financial standpoint. So this week, I'm going to provide tips on getting out of debt and some of the emotional aspects of getting out of debt. If you find yourself in debt, you are not alone. According to USA Today, total household debt rose an average of $17.06 trillion in the second quarter of 2023, with credit card balances alone reaching a high of $1 trillion. I don't know about you, but it is so hard for me to wrap my head around what that looks like. 84% of Americans have at least one credit card, and of that 84%, 48% are carrying balances on their cards from 1 month to the next. And credit card debt is the most costly debt that you can hold. So that means that Americans are spending a pretty penny to use credit cards. As of the time of this recording, the interest rate on credit cards is an average of 22.89%. As a nation, we have normalized debt as this acceptable way of life. It's like everybody has debt. Our parents have debt, our colleagues, our co-workers, our neighbors. We treat debt in this country like it's some type of rite of passage. I mean, I can remember going to college, getting my first credit card. And I remember seeing the financial institutions in the student union giving away some, I don't know, maybe a t-shirt, a mug. I don't even remember. But they gave us these things to entice us to complete a credit card application. But there was no discussion around whether or not I had a job and I can actually make payments on a credit card. When I went to college, I was only 17. I didn't have any financial education on how to use a credit card responsibly. And to be honest with you, I really don't remember what I even put on the credit card, with the exception of one thing. And that was this Prince poster that you see in the background. Only because I love Prince more than life itself. No, but seriously, only reason why I even remember this poster is because of the picture. This is a picture of me in my dorm room with my black satin Prince poster on the wall in the background. And I probably paid 2-3 times more for the poster than what it was actually worth. This is how the cycle begins for many people. On a college campus, I hear story after story of young adults who had their first exposure to credit cards on the college campus. Many of them have gotten a credit card before they even got their first semester grades. And like I said before, there's no corresponding financial education on how do you use these cards responsibly. This creates a cycle of debt for a lot of people, and unfortunately, for life. The problem with credit card debt is that it could be a dream killer. The worst feeling in the world is having your dreams stifled, your goals, your ability to build wealth and leave a legacy because of credit card debt. Credit card debt, it can rob you of your options and it can rob you of your freedom. Now, keep in mind, this discussion, this is not about people who pay their credit card balances off every single month. I'm not saying that I am anti-credit cards, because I'm not. But this discussion is for the millions and millions of Americans who are struggling to get out of debt. I see it in practice every day. And it impacts even people who have great jobs earning six-figure incomes. They also struggle to get out of this cycle of debt. I believe that we've been brainwashed. We've been programmed to believe that happiness is tied to stuff. That the more stuff that we have, the happier we're going to be. And you may be happy for that moment, but that's not lasting. That is a fleeting moment in time. So this idea that you can have whatever you want, just go out and buy it, even if you don't have the money to pay for it, well, it comes at a cost. And that cost is dreams that are deferred, retirements that are delayed, and savings that never get accumulated. And the ones that are getting rich here are the financial institutions. Have you ever looked at their buildings? They have some of the largest buildings in the United States. Their names are on sports stadiums. It's not cheap to put your name on a stadium. So think about this. Debt is an expensive price to pay for immediate gratification. And you're the one who's paying the price, not the financial institutions. I have a question for you. What would your life look like if you did not have debt? Would you have a peace of mind? Would you have maybe a reduction in stress? Maybe you could save more. Maybe you could have freedom over your life choices, freedom over your career choices. There are a lot of people who are working in jobs that are toxic. They're working in toxic environments and they feel like they're stuck and they feel like they don't have a choice because they have credit card bills that they have to pay. But I'm here to tell you that debt may be the American way, but it doesn't have to be your way. You have the power to define your relationship with money that doesn't necessarily include living beyond your means or living perpetually in debt. Debt doesn't have to be a part of your everyday life. Are you ready to break free from debt? Are you ready to break free from this debt culture that we live in? And if so, let's talk money. If you have a journal, now is a great time to get it, or you can use a notebook, or if you're new age and you want to use your phone, you can do that as well. Because I want to have you do some reflection work. I want you to start thinking about debt. I want you to reflect on how did you accumulate the debt? Now, I know that this may not be easy for a lot of people because debt can accumulate in a number of different ways. It could be from a divorce. It could be through the loss of a loved one. It could be medical debt. It could be a number of different reasons why you got into debt. And the purpose of this exercise is not to pass judgment. It is about understanding how you got into debt and how can you avoid slipping back into the debt in the future. So take a moment and think about, how did the debt come to pass? Reflect on your spending. Reflect on your lifestyle choices. Did they have an impact on the reason you got into debt? Was it student loans? That's a common one for a lot of people. Is the debt a reflection of an emotional need that is not being met? Now ask yourself, is there anything that you could have done differently to change your outcome? Is there anything that you could have done to avoid the debt? Maybe create an emergency fund? Is it possible that you could have added an additional income stream? Or maybe you could have saved for a planned purchase. I know oftentimes people will put their vacations on a credit card, but we know we want to go on vacation. Sometimes we know a year in advance that we want to take a vacation. Is that something that we can plan for? We can figure out what are the costs that are involved, what is the travel, the food, the hotel. We can add all of that up. And then based on the time frame that we're going to need that money, can we save for that on a monthly basis? So for example, let's assume that maybe you spend about $3,000 a year for vacation. Take that $3,000 divided by 12 to get $250, and then add that $250 to your spending plan every month. And then when you get ready to take your vacation, even if you put it on a credit card, at least you know when you come back, you have the money in the bank, that $250 that you saved over the year, you have that money in the bank and you can just pay off that credit card. Wow, how good would that feel? So ask yourself if you can plan for your purchases rather than just putting them on the card and going into debt and actually end up paying more for the vacation or the appliances than you really have to. I have a guide to help you write down these things. So if you don't have a journal and you want to take some notes, grab the Ditch the Debt guide in the description. It's totally free. And it also will provide you with some additional prompts to help you think about your debt. How does the debt show up in your life? How does it make you feel? How would your life look without that burden? I want you to think about the peace of mind and the freedom of choice that you would have if you did not have the debt. What will a debt-free life do for you? Will it allow you to save more money? Maybe you want to get a new home, you want to save for retirement. And then I want you to grab a picture that represents a vision of your debt-free life. It could be a picture of a home that you want to have. It could be, maybe it's you sitting on the beach because that represents a peace of mind. Whatever it is that makes you think about a debt-free life, get that picture and cut it out and put it someplace where you can look at it on a daily basis. If you have a vision board, that is a great place to put your picture, because you want to be looking at this picture on a regular basis. Getting out of debt, it's not easy. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it is an easy journey. I know, because I've been there. But you can do this. And when you're thinking about your why and you're reflecting on your vision of what a debt-free life looks like, it helps you to pull through those challenging moments. It helps you to pull through when you want to go on that spending binge or you want to take that vacation, with your families and friends and you haven't saved for it. So put your vision of your debt-free life someplace where you can see it on a regular basis. As I mentioned earlier, getting out of debt, it's a journey. It won't necessarily be easy, but think about it like a marathon. A runner who is preparing for a marathon, they're not just going to lace up their shoes and just head out the door and start running. No, they're going to create a plan. They're going to have an action plan, a plan that they can work on every day on a consistent basis. They know that it's going to take discipline and that it won't always be easy, but they're going to show up and they're not going to give up. Because here's what I want you to know. Everything that you need to succeed is within. And if other people are able to get out of debt and live a life of their choosing, you can do it as well. So stay the course. You got this. The next thing you're going to do is create a conscious commitment. This commitment is going to serve as your foundation. It's going to be your promise to yourself that you deserve a better life, not one that's dictated by writing checks to a creditor who charges way too much interest and is getting rich on your dime. Write down your commitment And then just like you did with your vision of a debt-free life, take that commitment, put it on your vision board, put it on the refrigerator, put it on the mirror in your bathroom, any place that is going to serve as your reminder to your commitment to a credit card debt-free life. And then don't forget to be kind to yourself for taking the first step. If you're still watching this video, I want to say, woohoo, kudos to you. And I want you to celebrate every single milestone, no matter how big or small. Be kind to yourself and know that you can do this. Next, you're going to think differently. If you really want to break free from debt, then you have to break free from society's expectations and their viewpoint on debt. You have to adopt a new mindset. The same level of thinking that got you into debt is not going to be the same level of thinking that's going to get you out there. So in other words, what got you here is not going to get you there. Peer pressure is real. Many people believe that once you graduate from high school that this idea of peer pressure ends. But the reality is that it doesn't. We just give it a different name as we become adults. But this idea of keeping up with your social group, that's real. We just call it keeping up with the Joneses. Now, you may even experience FOMO, that fear of missing out. When your friends and your colleagues, they're having all these great life experiences and they're buying all these material things that maybe you can't get these things just yet. But boy, you want to join them. This pressure, it isn't about wanting things. It's about this feeling of feeling like you're being left out, of not belonging, or seeing like maybe you're not successful enough. A perfect example of this is social media. People put their best lives and their best experiences on social media. And if you're looking at this, you're going to start wondering like, boy, I must be doing something wrong, or maybe I'm falling behind. I encourage you to unplug from social media for a while, or at least reduce the amount of time that you're spending on social media, especially while you're on your debt-free journey. I want you to realize debt isn't normal. We just live in a culture that has normalized debt. This consumer-driven culture was really derived by our government's desire to get the economy moving after World War II. And then all the big businesses, well, they jumped on the bandwagon because if you think about it, it's to their benefit. It's to their benefit to get you to spend your money even when you cannot afford it. And let's be honest, big businesses, they go through great lengths to push products that we don't need, but they've done a great job of convincing us that we do need them. That's why we have so many Americans that are deep in debt, and they're unable to save, and they're unable to invest and achieve their future goals. We have a retirement crisis on our hands. There's so many Americans that are not ready for retirement. This idea of high interest consumer debt is not the default way to live. Debt may be a widely accepted part of this modern day financial landscape, but it doesn't have to be your personal financial strategy. When you can take intentional steps towards financial independence and you can adopt a mindset that prioritizes saving and investing over immediate gratification and borrowing, you can carve out a path that leads to a more secure and financial future for yourself as well as for your family. Well, guys, listen, that's all that I have today. I want you to join me next week. I am going to jump into the financial side of getting out of debt. I'm going to share with you some tools that I've used to get out of debt and some tools that I use with my clients. And in the meantime, go be great, and I'll see you next week. And don't forget to like and subscribe.